on this side, Justin.
I will. I gotta hit the button.
It's every night. It's not any different. You just
same.
haven't had one for a while.
Yeah.
It's
It's
what
the
it is.
same recipe.
It's kind of, yeah. All right. Okay.
All right.
We got some action
I
here.
feel like there's more cameras and devices set up.
I just got an
Thing right
alert
here,
that we're
yeah.
live.
Well,
So
that's a speaker. That's a microphone.
Margaret's on.
Hi, Margaret.
That's not even a camera thingy. I don't know what.
I said devices.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
I mean,
NASA.
this is a legit show. That's why.
And I feel like we just completely ignored the only rule that was for that desk.
Hi, Mary Beth. What?
Don't put anything on this desk.
Wow, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for everybody just tuning in, the phone for the Fleet Feet Instagram is sitting on a desk.
That says
With
do
a
not put
sign.
anything on this
It
desk.
says yes. Do not put anything on.
Hey, Mom. My mom says hi. We're all
Hello.
just hi, Mary Beth. We are extremely punchy today. We are
Gonna get hit.
overtired.
Undercaffeinated.
Overworked, undercaffeinated.
Combo.
But
We had a busy weekend,
With
so
sufficient
we're here. Hey Pam.
Yeah.
We got, hey, guys, happy Margarita Monday.
Cheers.
wow.
Yeah. It's been a while since we were here.
Cheers. I know last time we were at
Yeah.
your place, right?
Yeah, John surprised us.
Nicole and Chris.
Nicole and Chris.
Oh,
Before we dive in, I just want to give a shout out and a big thank you to Mary Beth, who sent me this. It's backwards on Instagram, but
upside down.
it's not.
it's not.
It's not.
It's mirror image.
I'm
Yeah.
so confused.
Mary. So I walked into the store last week and there was a little package sitting on my desk. And when I opened it, it was this awesome little joke book from Mary Beth
Which
for my
was so
birthday.
sweet.
So
Oh.
sweet.
That was really, really sweet.
It's got some really good jokes. And then immediately Kim's like, can I? And I was like, no, hands off.
so
Yeah.
she would not. So
So
just
all
to be clear,
Kim did was outsource the work, just FYI. She did not come up with these jokes.
there
She
was,
got them from other
it
people.
doesn't matter how
It
it
does.
does.
Because I don't do that.
From
Yeah,
scratch.
what did you Google?
I didn't create them from scratch, but
Yeah,
I
someone did.
you spend time online to find the good jokes. Is
Well-
what I'm saying. I don't say, Jen Bogdan, will you text me some good jokes?
Wait.
Do them.
I mean, I actually thought
Susan who's on vacation.
it's like more social to ask friends than to be Google. Yeah.
And also, like, I know how my time is best spent,
Mhm.
right? And it's not looking for jokes. Okay.
You know, though,
It's
you
not.
bet this is like citing your sources. You have to give credit for where you got it.
Oh, please.
We got them from the internet. World Wide Web.
Whoever gave Kim the jokes. Fed that to her.
It might be Gelman.
My mom is booing
Yeah.
you.
Plagiarism. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So, okay. Made up the joke. So, like, let's, yeah.
My own joke.
I'm not saying that that's
Take a
what I
chill
do.
here.
Like,
All right.
Chris Regan is already starting on the topic. We'll get to it in a second, but he wants to make sure he doesn't actually have to do any work to get faster.
absolutely
No.
not.
So
You can
anyway.
just hang out with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get to the topic, I first wanted to call out. This is another thing today. My shirt, "Fall in Love with Running."
Does
This
it
is my challenge shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Hey Jessica, thanks for joining. We've got PT and New Balance on the back because New Balance is sponsoring. It's a beautiful tech shirt. Kim was also supposed to wear hers.
Right.
What happened, Kim?
Yeah.
Kimberly.
Well, so I forgot.
Yeah.
And then I jumped.
All right.
So then I dressed and my outfit was what it was. And then Alana texted me just as I was getting ready to leave the house and I said, I'm already dressed and that doesn't match my outfit. So it's not happening. So that's where we are. Now, we both need to wear the shirt, which we didn't.
Mhm.
Like you
I
guys
guess
see
I'm
it.
questioning what wouldn't match.
Well, that's what I said.
She walked in and I was like, this would work perfect with your outfit.
Well, but
She's
also,
like, no,
even
it
if she only
wouldn't.
wore it on camera, like no one sees whatever else
Right.
is going on.
This is the thing. It's all a farce. And this is what she does. It's like, no, it doesn't work.
Anyway, so you
Anyway.
all can see the shirt on Alana.
Hey, Trisha. Hey,
Trisha,
Jen.
hey, Jen.
So you guys, the challenge officially starts tomorrow. If you haven't signed up, you better join. You can join through Sunday.
Okay.
So it is open.
Through next Sunday?
No,
like
this
this
Sunday.
Sunday.
Right, the 6th or whatever.
Right. Because
Okay.
there's, if you want to complete all 50 tasks,
Right.
you definitely want to start sooner rather than later.
Correct.
Yeah.
And speaking very fall color, I
It
agree,
is.
Jessica.
Just didn't match my outfit.
You guys.
All right.
So also tied to the fall challenge, tomorrow night we are hosting the Hoka Mock Challenge here at the store.
Yep.
So if you come,
If you
Like,
want to, first of all,
you mean mock as in like the shoe, not like a fake challenge.
great, correct.
Right.
The
But-
box- I was,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep drinking.
Yeah.
but if
It's
you
helping
Be
you.
careful, you got a brain freeze.
if you guys haven't been to a Hoka event, they really
Yeah.
put on a fantastic event. Like they show up with the giveaways, the swag. Definitely try to make it here tomorrow night. It's going to be a lot of fun.
So tomorrow night, basically, you will run a mile
Mhm.
in your current shoes.
Mhm.
And we'll be timing you, but you will not be able to look at your watch. We have fun little stickers to put over your watch.
They're not that fun.
They're great. Anyway,
What if you bring multiple watches?
you'll get multiple stickers. And then what you're going to do is you're going to switch either into the Mach 6
Mhm.
or the Mach X2, which just recently updated.
Right.
And that's a plated shoe.
Very
And then you're going to run a second mile. And the idea is to try to run your second mile faster than your first mile.
Mhm.
Again, you may not look at your watch.
I have mocks, so I should bring my
Yeah.
mocks.
Well,
Justin,
unless you're trying to check off tasks from the Fall in Love with
Oh.
Running Challenge. So when we initially teased this challenge, we said, if you join the Fall in Love with Running Challenge, you'll be able to check off a couple of badges
Right.
if you live locally. One of them is run or walk in somebody else's shoes.
So if you try the demo
shoes,
right?
that's not your shoes, so
Mhm.
that can count. We also have the I forget what the badge is called, but it's run your fastest quarter mile badge. So you
Mm.
could do that.
Right.
There's the run by your local running store
Mhm.
badge
So
is
that
there.
will count.
It's going to be 6:00, so it's going to start getting dark if you bring any of your visibility stuff.
You can check
That's a
one.
badge.
So you just there's so many badges, so you just have to
Doesn't
figure
it
out.
ruin the challenge if you just get a whole bunch done on the?
Well, it's 1 mile per badge, so you have to strategize a little bit
You
and
can't
figure
run
out.
somebody else's shoes and your business on 1 mile.
Right.
Too bad.
So you have to figure out
That's the rule.
how many miles you can realistically do, and then what badges you want.
We're
to check
only
off
requiring
to
2
do 2
miles.
miles.
So here's the thing, you get a raffle ticket just for showing up and participating.
Mhm.
And then if you run your second mile faster than your first, you get a second raffle ticket. And Hoka's going to be, as Kim said, they bring the swag.
I know.
And they're definitely raffling off a free pair of shoes.
Their
so
stuff is really good.
you definitely want to get 2 raffle tickets in there to see if you can win.
All right. So before we get started, a question.
Yeah.
It's right in.
Training gently. Yeah.
So what happens when runners don't wear proper footwear?
I don't know what.
What happens?
They suffer the agony of defeat.
Where'd you get that one from?
We'll get there in time.
I feel like we need that, like, well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Welcome to my world, Kim.
Good one.
It just pulls you
Yeah.
Defeat is thank you.
Laughs at everyone.
Yeah. That was like,
Come on, guys. It was on topic. It was relevant. It wasn't a dumb question like why is the man climbing
Yeah.
the mountain?
You have a
eat
great
a-
number now here for the.
Right. Okay. Anyway. We got Okay.
Into the face.
What are we talking about today?
Okay, so
all
let's get to the topic at hand.
Please.
We are 8 minutes in and we
We've
haven't
done
touched
nothing.
it.
We're, the show's over. Thank you guys.
This is fantastic.
Yeah,
Thanks for
right.
tuning in. It was really great. Okay, so we're talking about how to get faster, and
Yeah.
here's why. So we talked about the 80-20 rule,
Mhm.
where 80% of your running, your training should be at an easy pace, 20% should be at a harder effort. And we've spent a good amount of time talking about that 80%
Right.
and why going easier is important.
Thanks, Mom.
But
Laughing at you now.
But-
Yeah.
we haven't really done a session about the 20%.
Everyone's laughing.
And so I think this is really relevant, not just for runners, but if you're a walker and you want to be able to inject
Yeah.
some speed in
So
there.
I was gonna say, so first thing is, right, we talking about, when you're talking about the 80-20 rule,
Mhm.
right? Has nothing to do with speed,
Right.
right? Because it's all about effort.
Effort.
So we'll talk today about some strategies to try and help you build speed, right? But don't get those two things confused.
Great point.
So
That's right.
we talked, that's all related to effort level. That's where we get into like the heart rate stuff.
Mhm.
But you, depending on what you're doing, you can be working very hard
Yep.
and not going very fast.
Right.
And that's okay.
Or the opposite. You could
Right.
be going very fast and not working very hard.
Correct. Biking down a hill.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Really
for
good
me,
distinction.
biking down a hill is terrifying, but that's a
Right.
separate situation.
Heart rate elevated.
Heart rate is like,
Yeah.
high. Yeah.
All right. So let's
Okay.
talk about going fast.
Okay.
Okay. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. I thought Alana had a question.
I do.
was letting her go. Yeah.
Well, I figured you were pausing, but then Kim was like, yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah. Okay.
What did one potato say to the
Do
other?
you want my second joke? Jeez.
No. The first one.
We're gonna make sure the viewers stay tuned in.
So before we dive into like how you can do workouts where your effort is harder, I think it's good to think about why you as a person want to run.
Yeah.
or
Why
walk
would you
faster.
want to do such a thing?
Right. So sometimes it might be that you have a race goal and you want to hit a certain time. And so in order to do that, you have to think about how to structure your training program from there. Sometimes I think it's just like an overall personal challenge. Like I just want to be able to go
I've never done that.
at a faster clip in
Right.
general.
Mhm.
Yes.
Sometimes you want to be thinking about, I want to be able to build strength and speed for the end of my race so that I can feel really strong at the end of my race, like
Yep.
versus like completely
Mhm.
depleted and everything like that. Justin put fast is cool.
Is it?
Maybe you can elaborate on that.
Well, I mean, like if you can be out on the race course for like an hour, or you could be out on the race course for an hour and a half, dependingly, it might be better to be done in an hour. You're not getting paid by the hour.
Did we just say dependingly? Did we just
Depending. Yeah. Maybe I made it for
Maybe.
like that.
If I ever did that, I'd be crucified, by the way.
Yeah.
Made up for work.
Correct.
Yes, fine.
It's okay.
So that's part of it. Or
Yeah.
you're just like, if you have a time goal, you want to set something, right?
Right.
I mean, it is a race usually, right?
I don't think I've ever been a runner where they would have been like, no, I really never want to get any faster whatsoever.
Right.
Just wants to be able to do it
Yeah.
really faster.
Yeah.
I think
I
so.
want to have that effort. And then Justin, you had also put a point here about training to improve VO2 max.
Yes. So there's a lot, you can read all sorts of stuff now, but like there's a lot of information out now on just overall health benefits of pushing yourself at a harder effort for obviously a shorter amount of time, but like those sort of like interval workouts.
Yep.
Right. Not to be confused with like HIIT training.
Correct.
Okay. Because that is a completely separate thing. But we're talking about, maybe doing like 4 minutes really hard, 4 minutes off, like 5 times. Okay. So you have like a equal recovery to effort level.
Yeah.
But there's a ton of health benefits to that as far as like training for longevity and,
Yeah.
all those things. And so that's one reason why you might want to train to run faster, because in order to get your heart rate higher and to be in that zone, you have to push yourself harder, which will either mean like running against some sort of resistance or
Right.
going faster.
Right.
Yeah. And I think a lot of what we're talking about also applies to people who are walking and are looking to walk a really fast 5K or
Mhm.
just in general. I was talking to my mom a couple of weeks ago and she, happened to mention to me, I feel like I've slowed down a little bit and I want to get back into a groove. And
Mhm.
so some of the stuff we're going to talk about, you can do either as a runner or as a walker. It's easy enough to interject kind of like a harder effort while you're walking for 4 minutes and then an easier walk for 4 minutes.
Right.
That kind of interval.
Right.
Mhm.
Because remember, we already said it once, it's not about speed.
Right.
It's
Right.
about
It's
effort.
about effort.
Yeah.
So if you're huffing and puffing, if you're breathing harder, you're working at a higher effort.
Right. It could be
Running,
it could be external factors that are impacting
Like a
your
hill.
effort, like a hill or weather or humidity
Yeah.
or
parachute.
your sleep last night or a million things.
Or if you
Yeah.
drank too much the night before.
That's always my
Yeah,
answer.
right.
Never
Right.
an issue for me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Mhm.
Okay. So now that we've kind of clarified what we mean by how to get faster, it's not necessarily about speed, it's about effort and all the different reasons. And so everybody's going to come to the table maybe with a different reason for wanting to get faster or do harder effort workouts. Let's talk about some of the things that we can and should be doing if that is a goal of ours. Overall, we'll talk through a few different options. But essentially, what you do is going to vary depending on what your goal is. And if you're training for a 5K versus a half marathon, your harder efforts are going to look really different. 5K is a much shorter, usually faster race. So you might be doing shorter intervals and really working on leg turnover. Whereas the half marathon, you might be doing longer intervals and thinking about mile type repeats, looking to be able to sustain a certain harder pace for a longer time.
Right.
And also, I mean,
Chris Regan with his,
Yeah.
he's on fire today.
Oh my goodness.
this is, I mean, this is for any of you runners or walkers out there, if you've ever done a 5K versus a half marathon, right? If you've been in some of these groups for the last few years, if you find that you're one of those runners and your 5K pace and your half marathon pace really doesn't change that much, this is a worthwhile discussion for you. And you should start thinking about how you can take some, talking points away and start to incorporate some more speed. Because if your body is trained right, and if you have enough, fitness underneath you, you should be able to run your 5K significantly faster pace-wise than your half. So if you find that you've really struggled with that and your paces really haven't improved that much over the years,
Right.
this is why.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a great point.
Right.
Yeah.
And like Justin mentioned over on Instagram that like you don't need a ton of speed work, that like
Yeah.
micro doing speed work
Right.
can do wonders.
That's
Yeah.
exactly.
That's it.
Yeah. Micro dosing, we're here for it.
Oh,
That's exactly.
Is that not what he was
not
saying?
this topic.
Okay,
go on.
sorry.
That's the next one. Kim's away.
Oh, okay, right.
Um,
Monday, THC Thursday.
Yeah. Why
uh,
not?
but yeah, just getting that in there because like you're not gonna if you don't practice going fast, you can't go fast.
Right.
Right. So
But
you
you
have to
can't,
expose your body.
it's a balance because you
Yeah.
can't do it all the time.
Right.
But you have to, at some point, sprinkle in little
Yeah.
bits of
All right.
faster
So
pace.
And
let's
yeah,
okay.
so let's get into Justin. You added this to the agenda, and I think it was a really great ad. But what is like the top thing that you're going to suggest before anyone really
Right.
starts doing?
So there are
It's gonna be strength
yeah,
training.
good job, Kim. Right. So there are prerequisites to running fast,
Right.
right? Or walking faster, doing anything. But you
Right.
have to be able to withstand the load. So if you're gonna go faster, right? Everybody loves high school physics, or some of us didn't go, Kim. So
Right. I'm here.
right, yeah.
I'm here.
So what falls faster, a bowling ball
On
or
TV. All right. No, is this a joke?
no?
No.
What? You don't know the answer?
Know what I'm like?
A bowling ball.
This is a trap.
Oh.
It's a trap.
All right. So if you're going to go faster, you're going to have to move your legs faster, right? You're going to have to push yourself forward faster. You have to hit the ground harder. If you hit the ground harder, the ground hits back harder, right? So you have to be able to absorb that
Impact.
force. You need strength in order to absorb that force. So, all right, I like Justin, buy new shoes. That does help, right? Buy the super shoes.
That's
Yeah.
a great answer.
Yeah.
I
So,
didn't see that screen, but whoever said it.
yeah.
Justin.
So
Then.
the thing is, right,
Harris.
if we're, you have to have that strength to do it. And so
Right.
if you're trying to say, hey, I'm just going to add some speed work into what I'm doing, but I'm like most other runners out there and I hate strength training and I don't
Right.
want to do that,
Correct.
you're going to set yourself up for injury.
Mm.
And that's
Yeah.
where we usually end up seeing people in the office who are kind of like, oh, I saw this strength training workout on Instagram or whatever. And it was like,
Mhm.
do these 400 repeats.
Here we go. I see where this is going.
Yeah.
I see where this is going.
It was not even you.
Oh, it wasn't?
But you outed yourself, so
Yeah, you totally out of it. But so that's the thing, right? You have to have that underlying strength to do it.
Right.
And that's where, like, when we talk about, like, you've got to be able to do a side pull, right? You've got to be able to get in that position, hold it,
Right.
right? And if you're not doing that, you're wasting your time on speed work. Because
So that's like that's the test. That's
One
of them,
the point of entry.
right? I don't know. What would you say? Like 20 seconds?
least.
At least.
So like a full
Full
side,
leg straight,
leg
side
straight.
plank.
Okay.
Like, don't start speed work if you're not doing it.
All right.
Yeah.
This is good. I can do
Sometimes.
sometimes.
Yeah, I'm cleared for speed work.
Right.
Won't be doing it.
I'm not going to be doing that.
So,
Yeah.
All right. So that's good.
but
All
I
right.
think it's a really great point because again, like putting your body under that kind of stress without it really,
You really want to
trying
make sure.
for it.
Yeah.
And I
I would also add in there calf.
think,
Your calf, we've talked about it a lot.
Right.
Calf does, the lion's share of the work when it comes to running. And so speed work, your muscles, the calf is just going to be working that much harder. Slight inclines, if you want to do hill repeats, again, you better make sure that your calf and your foot and your ankle are really up to the task.
So this is like calf raises.
Same thing. If you can't do 25 single leg calf raises
Ooh.
and it be easy,
I might not be clear.
you're really behind the eight ball.
Don't
my calves be popping. I'm ready
All right.
to go.
So let's say you have those prerequisites, but I would say that's a good, right? 25 single leg calf raises
Yeah.
on each side, and it should feel
Side
easy.
plank, 20
Yeah.
seconds. Full
20
side
seconds,
plank.
full side plank should feel pretty easy.
Okay.
Then
Anything else?
let's start there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's good.
All right.
Okay, so let's say you've got that baseline, you're good to go.
Yep.
So we have a few different types of workouts that we wanted to mention. The first one is track workouts.
Track workouts.
So-
Actually, I have a question about track workouts.
oh, do you get?
So, what do sprinters do?
What do sprinters eat?
I don't know, but I just found a Hershey.
What?
Better than a dollar bill.
I don't know. What do
What do they
sprinters eat, Kim?
Nothing. They fast.
All right. I'm trying to regret it too. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Come on.
He was gonna hate.
People, come on.
Come on, I'm giving you credit where credit was due.
Give me some love.
I'll also say your delivery on that one was like 5 times better than
Here's the thing. I've used that joke before. Oh, I remember the jokes I've used, Kim. So that's why I was like, I don't know, but I actually
I
do
don't know,
know.
Chris.
It was on topic. It was relevant.
Wait,
it was
Chris,
funny.
Chris.
Why
Why
did
did
the
the
marathon
marathoners
decide
to
to
give
give
up
up
racing?
racing?
I'm scared.
Tell us why, Chris.
Why?
Well, we can keep
Well,
talking.
it's
There's a
anyway.
delay.
Okay, there's a delay.
Yeah.
So track
They're
workout.
laughing. They're laughing.
Chris liked it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris.
Track workout.
Christopher Michael.
So this is where, again, you can do really short distances. You can do longer distances. I personally really love track workouts. One, because the track is flat.
Mhm.
So
Here,
it's a
Depends on
little
where
bit
you went to high
easier.
school.
But it's really a good way to make sure that you're hitting certain paces that you
Yeah.
want to be hitting.
Right.
It's a little harder to do that on the road when you're unsure about the distances. Okay, because it gave them the road.
Uh,
So I'm going to come back with the jokes next time, guys.
I think you did fine in your absence, actually. Thank you.
So track workouts, okay? So you can be really specific in the times you're looking to hit. You can kind of stay on top of that and make sure you're hitting them.
distances.
Controlled kind of environment
super
there.
short hundreds, 200s. You can do 1,200 repeats. You can do mile
Right.
repeats.
To be clear, you wouldn't do short hundreds. They're just hundreds. Short
I
hundreds. are
said
like
short 100.
Short.
Short.
Oh, short. Correct.
Like,
I
right.
think it's
It
also
is by definition short.
Short. Yeah.
I think it's also
Short term.
important to say that so we don't scare people. Don't assume that your speed work means you have to be going all out 100%.
Right. Right.
Right. There's almost two different types of speed work that you can do. One of them is yes, all out. There are people that do prescribe, from a coaching perspective. If you've earned the right to be able to go all out, hard as you can for these like 200-meter efforts, 400-meter efforts, you can certainly do that. But what
That's
we
probably not most of our.
Correct. What most of us want to start doing is getting close to what should be a typical 5K effort.
Right.
And everybody has a 5K effort that's faster than the half marathon effort.
Right.
You've been
Yep.
running for, a month, or you've been running for, 5 years.
Right.
So, getting into a 5K is still not an all-out sprint like you would as fast as you can one lap around the track.
Right.
We want people to get used to having to work a little harder, having the legs move a little faster, but you should
Yeah.
certainly start with that speed work.
Yeah.
We're not talking about all out 100%.
Oh, no.
Mine is probably like, I would say a 2-minute difference
Right.
between like
That's-
what my marathon pace should be if I was like
Right.
trained, and like what my 5K pace should be if I, it's about, I would say it's about a 2-minute difference in pace.
Yeah.
Right. So when I go to the track, I'm going to be kind of targeting, like John said, depending on how long the intervals are, I'm going to be trying to hit some intervals at that
Right.
5K pace, which is like 2 minutes faster pace than I would run a half marathon.
I
So
think the other,
Jessica, just to
Okay.
confirm, yes,
Yeah.
a track, one loop on the track is a
400
40
meters,
miles.
which
400
is, it's roughly
meters.
four, yeah, roughly.
so kind of like, you know, to piggyback on what John said though, the other benefit of the speed work, right, is to get you comfortable being uncomfortable,
Mhm.
right? You have to learn how to be comfortable pushing yourself to find like where you need to be. And that's where like the track is a good place to do that.
Yeah,
Because you are where you started.
right,
So
exactly.
you can hop off.
You
And
never-
it's great. You can
never
have
too
water
far
there.
You can have water.
You're never too far from what?
An AED.
This
Good.
is true. So my
Yeah.
question is, in terms of the recovery, I think this is a common question that
Mhm.
people have. So should you run, jog the recovery? Should you walk the recovery? Like, what should you be doing there? Like, if you're walking, does that mean you went too hard? Like, tell us more.
Typical medical answer. It
Like
depends.
the adult diapers.
Yeah. So it depends on a lot of things, right? It depends on your goal
Right.
of the workout,
Mhm.
right? It also depends on your training age and your experience doing it. I think if you're new to speed work, 100% just walk the
Yeah.
distance.
Yep.
And your rest to work
Yes.
ratio should be 1-to-1,
Bingo.
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So
Agree.
and by time, not distance.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
last
I think that's a
week
great
I
point.
went to the track and I did some 800 repeats
Those are long.
with
Right.
a 400 meter, what I call an active recovery. So I
Mhm.
was still moving. And
Yep.
for that active recovery, the first 100 meters on the track I walked.
Mhm.
And then the next 300 I jogged
Jogged.
very easy.
Yeah.
And my goal was to get my heart rate down as
And
much
then-
as possible and then be able to do a pretty hard effort on that 800 because I was actually more focused on am I hitting my goal for the recovery
Right.
versus my time for the 800.
Well, I think a lot of times beginners, a mistake that they might make is having the paces too close,
Yeah.
right? So they're doing their hard effort and then they slow down to a jog and it's
Right.
really not that much slower. And then so there
Right.
should be kind of the effort should feel very different. Not about the pace, but the effort should feel very different.
Yeah.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yep.
So track workouts, that's one way to just do, again, as John mentioned, it's not about sprinting all out and seeing if you can beat low Niles time. But
Yeah. That's a recipe
It's-
for injury,
yeah, no.
actually.
but it's with working within your own effort and making sure that you're having a nice balance between increasing that effort and allowing you some recovery time.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
Okay. Progression runs are another really great way to work on increasing your
Yeah.
effort, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys want to explain what a progression run is? Nope. Okay.
That wasn't a joke.
I like to progress from my couch.
Hard.
Right. All right, so figure right, you're just gonna slowly build in as you're going. And I mean, this is my favorite type of way
Yeah.
to kind of do this because
Mm.
I like to build some of the speed work into my normal
Mhm.
workout. And so I might, let's just say, start out at like an easy 3 out of 10 effort and hold that for 10 minutes. And then go to like a 5 or a 6 out of 10 for 3 or 4 minutes. And then maybe like a 7 or 8 out of 10 for 2 minutes. And then maybe walk for 4 minutes
Mhm.
or, some sort of like jog, come cool down,
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah.
Or like if I'm getting ready for a race, I might try to do like an easy effort and then maybe 2 minutes just under goal race pace, 2 minutes like at goal race pace, 30 seconds above
Mhm.
goal race pace, and then come down and do that like 6 or 7 times.
Right.
So progression meaning as you're going, your effort is getting a bit harder,
Yep.
and then you're pulling it back. So
Correct.
you've given your body a nice warm up. Maybe you've done some of those running drills that we talked about a couple of weeks ago, and Kim demonstrated so beautifully for us.
Yeah.
And then you're progressing your effort throughout that entire run.
Exactly.
So if you're saying I'm going for a 5-mile run or walk today, you can also do it by distance, although I think time is better.
Mhm.
And you're just kind of progressing through that effort. And that's a great way to just improve your effort. And again, that's going to translate to quote unquote speed or feeling like you've got more leg turnover and you can sustain a harder effort for longer.
Yeah.
You could do it like Justin said, where it's like that stair. It's kind of like a staircase where you go up and then you plateau a little bit. You drop back to recovery, go back up.
Yep.
Drop back down.
I don't think that's like a traditional
Or-
progression run though, do you?
Kind of. But you can also do a pyramid
Right.
where it's like you're going up and
Yeah.
then you just back off in the exact reverse order that you went up.
Right.
Yeah.
That's another way to do it. But it's
On
just
the
adding
track,
speed
that's
on
called
it.
the ladder.
A ladder, right? That's a ladder
You're
workout. Yeah.
increasing in distance
Yeah.
and then you come back
Come
down.
back down.
So you do like a
To me, progression
400,
is just like
800 mile and then down.
getting faster.
Right.
As you go through the whole overall workout.
Yeah.
I think what
Right.
John is describing might fit a little bit more into, I love saying this word, fartlek runs.
Right.
Mm.
Play.
Yeah, so speed play. So maybe explain what a fartlek run is and why that can be a good tool for kind of improving your effort and your speed.
I mean, the way I usually do that is I just try to might go for a run and every mile, just try to sprint to the next mailbox.
Right.
Or I try to keep it unstructured.
I'm so
Yes.
bad at that.
So I love
Like, I need structure. I would not know. I'd be like, I'm not doing that now.
Oh,
Like,
see,
yeah.
I think those are really fun, and
You
I
just
think
be like, run to the dog stop.
Right.
Run to the dog stop.
like you see that like
I mean, you couldn't tell me what I'm doing. Like, I couldn't come up with that in my own brain on the spot.
yeah. So I'll run with you, and I'll tell you what to
Yeah. Go.
Look at her. She's like,
do. She's freaked out.
Tap them.
I like to work out on my watch.
Yeah.
It tells me exactly what to do, and I hit go. And
So
that's
I think the reason there's a couple of reasons I love fartleks. One, I really like them in the wintertime when I'm sticking to running more on roads or the rail trail. And so you don't have a track to give you distance. And so it can keep a run interesting. And you can be like, okay, you see that, bridge over there? I'm going to sprint to that. And then I'm going to run really easy. Or not even sprint. I'm going to do like a 10K effort or a 5K effort this distance. I think the other thing that fartleks are really good for is in a race situation, right? You might be running and then someone's making a move and you want to be able to go with them. Or
right.
you're
Yeah, right. Yeah.
you see a group of people up ahead
I want to catch that.
and you want to attach yourself to them because
Yeah.
you know that's going to help you sustain a pace.
Yeah.
And so you got to pick it up to catch up to them. I think fartleks are actually really good in kind of recreating race scenarios for some of us, maybe not everybody. And it's just like a really fun way to do just like some harder efforts, but randomly throughout a longer run.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kim's not a fan of
No.
fartleks.
No, I think my brain is too
Yeah.
literal,
Yeah.
so I need like a structure. Like I would never actually do the speed part because I'd be like, nothing's telling me what to do. So I would
Right.
never be like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
gonna sprint to that mailbox. Like that would just never happen. I need it.
Yeah.
Someone's got to tell me.
Fair enough.
It's fun to mix it up. I think that the beauty of the fartlek thing is you don't always you're not always mentally prepared for it,
Mhm.
which
But
is
you're-
more like a real world.
But you're telling yourself to do it. So what do you mean you're not mentally prepared? Like
Well,
you're
it's sort of like
you're-
the way I do it-
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not like thinking so far ahead that
Yeah.
you're like, I'm on this route, and when I hit this
this
little
doesn't work
pebble,
for my
No,
brain.
it's like
This doesn't
every
work
time
for
I
my
come
brain.
to a blue mailbox, I'm going to sprint to the next mailbox. So you never know when it's coming.
Let's go to Haunted Mansion. You know you're going to get scared. You just don't know when.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that was pretty good. John.
Yeah.
Look at him just sitting casually in the
Right.
back. Let me drop that. Yeah.
Do you guys know why ant colonies don't get sick and viruses?
Oh.
That's
Oh, joke? Why?
Why?
those antibodies.
Yeah.
See, that was good.
Yeah, he all loves it.
So the last kind of thing that we wanted to talk about as far as building your speed, and it may not, when you first hear it, make you think of like, I'm going to get faster, but because you're
Run up,
thinking
roll
about
down.
effort is hill repeats.
Hill?
Yeah.
Oh, hills definitely make you faster. That's the main one.
Hill repeats. So talk to us about why hill repeats can help improve kind of your overall fitness and your ability to go at a harder effort.
Hills are amazing.
I completely agree, but
So the first thing is when you're running up a hill, it's going to automatically put you in a better body position. So it helps
That's so
train
true.
the body angle and sort of the form and technique. And so if you're not used to doing harder efforts or speed work, it just sort of ensures that you're in like a great biomechanical position. It just sets you up for success.
Yeah.
It's a set distance,
Mhm.
right? So you know you have that. And it's going to make you use muscle groups that you're just not used to using in that way. And so it's really good from a training perspective, and it gets your heart rate up really quick.
Really quick.
Right. So that's going to
But
increase
again-
your exertion level.
Right.
Naturally.
If you're struggling with like foot and calf stuff,
Right.
that's sorted out before you even try the hills.
Yeah.
Right. But again, this is where this is a great tip for runners and walkers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Walking
walking
up
up
the
the hill.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Go for a
Yeah.
hike. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we actually have been doing some hill repeat trainings with our half marathon groups the last couple of times, and we'll take one of our runs and do the clinic with them and really help them understand the proper way to do it. Because, you know, you do want to be going at a harder effort up the hill. It doesn't take a lot to go at a harder effort.
Right.
But I think sometimes people just really shy away from that. And it translates, like Justin said, to better body form. Like John said, you're using different muscles. But then running on flat, you're like, oh, this is nothing,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know? And that's how it translates to a little bit of speed, depending on the kind of terrain that you're running
Hills
on.
are a really great.
They're
tool.
really good.
So I think our,
You want to not do all these things, right?
Right.
You
Yeah.
want to like
Let's
put
get-
a goal in, figure out.
Like
what's best for
Justin
you.
had mentioned before, right? Is that the like sort of micro dosing idea of it?
I like
The
that.
hill-
So now it's okay to say micro dosing. Okay.
I like that.
The hills sort of ensure that.
Yeah.
Because it's not like you're gonna.
It's not the sole thing, right?
Right.
So like if you go to a track and you're doing a track workout,
Yeah.
that's the whole workout.
Right.
But if you try and build some hill repeats into your regular run,
I think it's
similar
a
to
great
the fartlek
workout.
thing, yeah,
And I think it's even more accessible for more people.
Yeah.
to be honest
There's
with you.
hills everywhere. And there's a couple ways you can do hill workouts. You can do repeats where you do a warm up and then you find a hill and you're running up and walking down. Or you can pick a really hilly course and just say, every time I hit a hill, I'm going to increase my effort.
yeah.
Mm.
Right?
Yes.
See, Kim again needs to know
So
exactly
if
what
you
she's
do this,
going.
it's like a little
but
trick. I don't know that I've ever said this out loud, so this is like
Oh.
a good thing, right? So
everyone listen.
this is a secret. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't said that. But we'll keep that.
Right.
So when you run up a hill or bike up a hill, right?
Oh boy.
Everybody always knows when you get to the top,
Oh,
right?
here we go. Yeah.
You tend to kind of like slow down a little bit over the top.
Yeah.
And so what I like to do to just sprinkle a little bit of like hill workout into every run that I do is I try to accelerate over the top of the hill.
Yep.
Okay.
And so you're pushing yourself over the top. And that gets your heart rate going, gets everything up, but it sort of makes sure that you're getting that effort into it. And if you run on a regular hilly route, it makes it way more challenging than you think
Yeah.
it would
Mhm.
to just work on accelerating over the top, but also in a race situation or something like
That's
that,
where I was
right?
gonna go. Yep.
That's where so many people
Look back off. They're like,
Yeah.
I made it to the top.
right,
of
they
the
get to the
hill.
top, they back down, they
Yeah.
slow down. And so if you accelerate over the hill, don't push yourself necessarily on the actual incline, but
The hill.
Yeah.
Right.
accelerate over the top.
Right.
It's a huge advantage.
I like that. I don't think I've ever heard you say that.
I don't think I've ever.
Yeah.
It's like a thought process when I'm running, but I've never said it out
In
loud.
I like that.
college,
I'm
when
glad it
our,
makes sense.
when
I
our
said it out
coach
loud.
had us doing hill repeats, it was at a place where there was probably about a quarter mile of flatness at the top. And the goal was when you get to that, that's when you actually push.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's how we trained
Right.
in college when we did hill repeats.
Yeah,
So,
that's great.
That's good.
do you guys know what you get if you cross a rabbit with two cats?
See, here we go with like the silly question.
Hair, kitty, kitty.
No. I'm sorry, but
That was from Mary Beth's book. Thank you, Mary Beth. I love it. Okay.
Who won the joke game tonight?
Okay. I don't think it's a
Well, John
contest
is the one
ever.
to go
Yeah.
to. It's a surprise entry, but
No. So let's make sure we touch on this because I want to make sure that we underscore this. But
Okay.
How long is the show going on for?
Yeah.
do we just have a couple more? Oh my God. Why do you want to wrap it up? Okay. How often should we include this kind of work in our training? So Kim said, like, you're not going out and doing all of this
No.
all at once. Let's go back to that 80-20 rule.
yep.
So talk to us a little bit about like, you know, in a week, in a month, and whatever, like how often are we really doing this kind of harder effort?
I think especially if you're newer to it,
Yes.
quite infrequently.
Right.
Um,
If they're on the right to.
yeah, I would say no more than once a week.
I was right. That's what I was.
And
gonna
that might
say,
even be a lot.
maybe not
Yeah.
even one
Yeah.
week. Right. That's
You
what I was.
also, you
gonna
also
say.
need to make sure they're running more than just a few days a week. To get
Right,
good.
right. So that's the thing.
Easy
If you only
recovery runs.
run 2 or 3 days a week, right? You need
Yeah.
that like slow, easy mileage to
Right.
build the
It's not going to
endurance.
help you.
There's a
Yeah.
reason we
Right.
program people like, okay, you can't get another day of running in, but I want you doing a half-hour walk at lunchtime, right?
Mhm.
Or
Right.
2 mile easy run. It's just, those recovery runs make a big difference and help priming your body to be ready for the next, the next effort, the next run. So,
Agree.
Yeah.
So you should have a certain kind of base volume.
I mean, that's why, like if I don't feel like my volume is where it needs to be, I'll just try to sprinkle in like a couple of efforts into a regular run.
Rather than going and
Versus the
doing
separate,
specific, yeah.
Specific
yeah.
workout.
more of
Yeah.
intensity session.
Or just say like, hey, I'm barely getting my 4 days a weekend. I'm not getting the base volume in that I need. And so I'm just going to run on some hillier routes and just
Right.
try and
Yeah.
push the hills a little bit.
Yep.
Yep. That's smart.
Guess what? If you ain't sleeping or you're stressed out, you're not doing
Right.
Don't
intensity.
do
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's sort of hit the low hanging fruit
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Don't try to make up for lost time.
Absolutely.
And
think
you
that-
really should
yeah.
have a good grasp. When we talk about 80-20, literally count. There's a reason we talk so much about time and not mileage. Count up every minute that you've run in the past few weeks or how much you have planned for this week. No more than like 10 to 15% of that should be
This
harder.
harder.
80% of your minutes
Yes.
should be at the easier effort.
Yep.
Yep.
So when Kim and I were training for the Hartford last year,
Briefly.
yeah,
Mhm.
some of us were training longer than others.
Kim training that taper, great.
I don't really excel at the taper.
That was, I mean, for me, that was a tough training cycle because we were following a program on Garmin,
Mhm.
and it was probably
It was silly.
2 to 2.5 times a week of a
Mhm.
harder effort.
Yeah.
And I mean, it worked for me. But my body felt it. Like
Yeah.
I needed
Right.
a nice long recovery and a nice long break after that.
Yeah.
But
But you hit your time goal.
hit my time goal.
So guys, if you don't follow the
Yep.
plan, you're probably not going to hit the time goal. I'm living proof of this.
Hang on. Yeah, that's usually how it works.
Yeah.
That's pretty true.
Always helps.
Plus,
Right,
it's still
right
not
now, maybe
Right.
maybe once a week, I'm putting in a harder effort, and everything else is just easier,
Kinda easy
conversational.
miles, yeah.
Some of it is longer, some of it is shorter, but still very just easy and conversational. So,
Yep.
I think we already hit on the do's, some of the do's and don'ts, but
Yeah.
again, we can't underscore enough the importance of making sure that you have the strength that you
Strong
need
enough to be able
in
to do
order
it.
to be
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah,
You have
and
to earn the right to do
The
that.
other thing I think we should just mention too is like you shouldn't be changing multiple variables, right? So
Correct.
you shouldn't like decide, okay, like they said I should be running a lot of miles per week in order to sprinkle in this straight,
Right.
these workouts. So let me increase my mileage to 30 miles a week and let me add in,
Right.
Strength
partner
training.
and right. So like you don't want to do all these
Yeah.
things at one time. I think that's really important. It's,
Yeah.
getting kind of the foundation to the house before you like,
Usually, what I recommend is if you haven't done any of it, you should learn how to run faster on level ground before you start to learn how to run faster uphill.
Mm-hmm.
So,
good.
maybe sprinkle those in, make sure your body can handle it. But again, these are not hard, fast rules all across.
It
there's a lot-
depends for
there's a lot
everyone.
that
Yeah.
depends,
There's a
but,
lot of different scenarios.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But
But I agree. If you change too many variables and then something goes wrong, you don't know what variable caused that, right?
Right.
and that's a recipe for disaster
Yeah.
if you
It's always the intensity.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It
usually
really
the
is. That's
intensity.
true, actually.
So I think that was everything we wanted to cover according to this topic. If you have any questions, if you're watching this after we've been live, just drop them in here. Make sure you tag us.
Mhm.
We're happy to answer them. I think I love this conversation because I
this
think
is great.
everybody thinks, oh, they're going to give us like a written program and prescription on how to do it. But we're here to say that's not how it works.
Correct.
So guys, just a quick note about next week. So we just put this up on Facebook events. We're going to promote it via social tomorrow, but we are having a massive,
It's gonna be fun.
massive Brooks Glycerin Max launch party next Monday.
Mhm.
And Alana, where will you be drinking your margarita out of?
Allegedly, I'm drinking a margarita out of a shoe.
Yes.
Sauce food.
Not you're not.
Not a new
That's what I'm pushing for, but
So this is the rumor. We are going to go live from that party.
We are?
Yes, very
Is
shortly.
it going to be a new shoe or a used shoe that you're drinking out?
Oh my
You'll
God.
have
You
to
get
tune
that?
in to find out. But that
Well, yeah,
that
that's
launch
for the
party
party.
is happening at the store from 6 until 8.
Mhm.
There's going to be exclusive giveaways and gifts with purchase.
I mean,
Brooks is going to be with us.
Right.
They're going to be here. Our reps are going
We're-
to be here.
I would like to just tease that we're going to be like printing shirts on the spot as a giveaway.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah.
All right. We've got Gelman teed up to do some in-store hot press. Oh, is there something gross in
Yeah,
this
I need a
margarita?
refund on my margarita.
Oh, okay. All right. Let's.
Oh, there's
Oh.
an
Oh, that's a big one. Okay, put that away. So next Monday, if you're in the area and you can join us in person, we're going to be partying it up at the store. There's going to be food from Mexicali Blue. So
real food. Like,
we're going with the Margarita Monday theme. There's probably going to be some margaritas.
we're figuring that out.
Yep.
And there's going to be just some awesome stuff going on. And obviously, you'll get a chance to see and try on this
The new
brand new
Glycerin Max.
Glycerin Max, which everyone's really excited about. So we won't be necessarily live at a very specific time, but we'll try to go live maybe around 7, between 7 and 7:30, just for a few minutes. If you can't join us in person, you can feel the vibe of the party. We'll show you kind of what's going on. Maybe chat a little bit with our Brooks reps about the new shoe that they've just launched. But that's what's going to be happening. And then we'll keep you posted on the rest of October and what we have coming your way from Margarita Monday. But Justin, John, thank you for
guys.
joining us.
Thanks
I
for
really
having
enjoyed
us.
this conversation. We'll see you guys again soon.
All right. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye, everyone.
Pete Rose.